Welcome, ladies, to the Work in Real Time, Episode 3. It is January the 21st. My name is Alicia, and I am a holistic health coach who support women in creating lives that feel sustainable, nourishing, and grounded. Since the last time I checked in, I finished Lesson 1 and began Lesson 2 of Week 1. And this felt like an important place to pause because this is where I really began to see what this work looks like when life keeps happening. This week wasn't neat, it wasn't linear, but it was honest. As I finished Lesson 1, the rest invitations continued to shape my days in small but meaningful ways. I practiced taking 3 slow breaths before a meal and eating slowly for one meal. I took a 5-minute digital pause, and one day I rested more than usual, meditated, wrapped myself in my electric blanket, and sipped something warm. What I'm learning is that rest doesn't always look like stopping everything. Sometimes it looks like choosing softness when my instinct is to push. One of the cards I pulled invited me to choose curiosity over criticism. When I asked myself what I might have needed in that moment, the answer wasn't discipline or motivation. It was rest, warmth, and permission to slow down. That felt like my body communicating clearly to me and me finally listening. The challenging part this week wasn't a specific food or moment. It was sitting with how deeply ingrained some of my old thinking still is. As I wrapped up Lesson 1, I wrote about the rules I've lived by for years and realized something important. They no longer serve the woman I am becoming. For a long time, I believed those rules kept me in control. But the truth is, they kept me small and disconnected from my body's truth. That realization was freeing, but it was also tender because letting go of old rules means letting go of familiar ways of feeling safe. Then Monday morning came and something very human happened. As I started Lesson 2, a familiar thought floated in. It would be nice to be 20 pounds lighter by the end of this year. At first, I felt disappointed in myself for even having that thought after doing this work. But then I paused and recognized how deeply ingrained that thinking is. It doesn't disappear just because I'm more aware. So instead of judging myself, I asked a different question. What would actually change if I lost the weight? My answers surprised me. They had nothing to do with health. They were about how I would look in pictures and how clothes might fit better. That moment helped me see how conditioned that thought still is and how different it feels now to question it instead of obeying it. What supported me in that moment was remembering my actual lived experience. I thought about the fact that I weigh about the same now as I did when I was first diagnosed with diabetes, but my A1C has gone from 12 to 5.8. What changed wasn't my weight. What changed was how I started listening to my body. Over time, I've learned that when I eat more than my body needs, which leads to not feeling great the next day, I don't punish myself. I take it as information. There is no starting over. There's just responding. I don't do this perfectly, and I don't need to. The more I practice listening, the less angry I get with myself, and that feels like real healing. I also want to name that the beginning of this week was stressful. Life showed up with real demands and pressure, but I noticed something different. The stress didn't grip me the way it used to. The breathing, meditation, and pauses, they didn't remove the stress, they softened its hold. I handled situations with more ease, and things felt like they were unfolding instead of piling on. Over the weekend, I also gathered with my community for a vision board party. That experience felt deeply nourishing. My theme was the new season I'm in, letting go of my adult children and choosing to center my own well-being. That board represents more than a vision for 2026. It reflects how I'm learning to nourish myself as a whole person, not just with food, but with rest, joy, connection, environment, and gentle movement. It reminded me that this journey isn't about fixing one part of my life. It's about caring for all of me. What I'm carrying forward from this week is a deeper trust in the process, even when it isn't smooth. I'm learning that old thoughts may return, stress will still happen, and rest will sometimes look like doing less. And none of that means I'm off track. This work isn't about getting it right. It's about staying present, honest, and kind to myself. That's where I am as I continue moving through lesson 2. I'll check back in next week and share what continues to unfold. If you're navigating your own relationship with food, body, or health, and would like to learn more about the Empower Her journey or join my free Facebook group, you can find that information in the links below. And I'll see you next week right here for the work in real time.